We won't notice if you don't talk, Mitch, because you don't say much that's important anyway. Hey, listeners, how you doing? Hey, it's Mitch, it's Mike, it's Mitch and Mike's voiceover journey. Today on the podcast, we've got the one, the only Libby Clearfield in the room with us. How you doing, Libby?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Good, fantastic.
Thank you
Great
guys
to have
for
you
having
in.
me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, Mitch said, we got Libby Clearfield. I went, score.
Better than saying who?
Yeah. Hopefully our listeners know who you are. I mean, you're a pretty good name in the industry.
And they're about to find out. Yeah.
So, but yeah, Mitch, how did you land Libby?
How do we land?
Well, that's probably a bad way to put that.
Okay, we don't call our guests fish anymore. I took a class with you, I think, and then emailed roster stuff. We're great friends now.
Yeah, we go way back to a couple months ago.
It's pretty nice. And then I was lucky enough to sit in a breakout session in VO Atlanta, and it was, I was like, yeah, I'm so happy I feel like I had already known you were going to be on the podcast at that point. I'm like, okay, Libby's cool. I couldn't be sure, right? You have a really nice online presence, but you never know.
It's true. You don't know until you actually meet and see all of the gifts. My presentation was very gift heavy.
And I knew almost every single one. Yeah. It was
Did
perfect.
you? Awesome.
Yes. I was pretty close. But yeah, so. And here we are. Full on interview.
I will say, as when we started this little journey, it was kind of daunting, just starting to have people on, and it was mostly close friends, and there was nothing wrong with that, and we still do that. But over the course of time, it's interesting to me how much bolder we've gotten to just go, yeah, let's shoot our shot and get that person on the show, and it pays off because now we have people like you that are joining us and bringing your wonderful smile to us, and we can't wait to hear your story.
Be here. Thank you for inviting me, and you have historically such great people, so I'm so excited that now I can be a part of it.
Well, there you go. You'll have to battle. Tim Powers has started he wants to get the 5 Timers Club going, so he's 2 in. Hopefully we'll have you back and have you start, building up towards the hand-painted macaroni necklace that we'll go to.
We're already asking for a second date, mid-date, Let's just see.
I already
see how the meal goes. Okay, all right.
So
I have to
already
agree,
know
you always know right from the get-go, is this going to work, or is this even something that's going to warrant a second date? So
this is true.
I already know that she's going to add to her email signature, Libby Clearfield, friend of Mike and Mike.
Mike and Mike? Mitch and Mike?
I didn't already.
Mitch and Mike,
Okay.
Did I say Mike and Mike?
Christ.
I need to leave.
We'll put 2 of your pictures up,
Changing
Mike.
your name. More of me, less of you.
I'm going to do the Mike thing. I'm going to get deep here. Libby, we always want to know, way back, what was that spark? What started you on this path of artistry? It might have started in VO. It might have started probably on stage, would be my guess. But, how did that all begin? What was your path?
Well, it depends on, you are asking me. I was about to say it depends on who you ask, but you're asking me.
Yes.
So I was going to say, if you ask my dad, it happened 5 seconds after I was born, because apparently, as he tells the story, I came out and looked up at him and said, "Dad," and haven't stopped talking since. But for me, I don't know. I would say probably from a very young age, I always felt like I was a performer. I was kind of obsessed with Grease 2 as a child, and I would sing
one
the
of my
songs.
Favorite movies, and I give her a hard time about it all the time.
I am totally just pulling that one out. I haven't shared that information in a long time with anybody, and so
wow.
But yeah. I do know that movie quite well, and I would, as a young toddler, even, I think, who should not have been watching that, but I would sing the songs and dance around the room, and always just performing. I had my impressions that I used to do of different characters from films when I was a kid. I had my Betty Boop. I had my Olympia Dukakis from Steel Magnolias, and
Wow.
That's an interesting impression for a young child
yeah, I think I
to
nailed
do.
it too.
Why don't you
What
give
is-
us some of that?
I wouldn't
I was
mind.
going to ask for Betty Boop, but you throw out Olympia Dukakis, and my interest
Yeah,
is piqued.
it was more just that I had the memory because I like that I could recite words from the film.
Okay.
But I think, and I would go with my performance too. But I don't think I was a voice match or anything. But yeah, so I really just got into movies, and I watched a ton of movies and television when I was a kid, for better or worse. And because
It was our generation.
I don't condone
Raised by
that now with
television.
my own child, but I do think that it helped shape me into who I am now. And so, so it started with that, and I then did theater all through adolescence and high school, college, and then beyond, and then moved into on-camera stuff and did that for a while, and then moved into voiceover. And so I've been doing VO for about 13 years or so, full time. And yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
So you, a lot of us, I'm going to say Mike too, hit a few snags of people who are like, you're not getting hired for 10 years or what. Or, that one friend or family member who's like, are you sure you want to do that? That's hard. Like, it sounds like you just slid on through acting year after year. Did you?
I'm actually quite lucky. I have a very supportive family. My dad was always my biggest fan, and has always been my biggest fan. And so he's always just been like, how can we help? And which is awesome. It's great. And I definitely don't, take him up on things because I don't really know what he could do, but he's a physician. But it's still,
Yeah.
Here, buy a new booth,
well,
buy a new
yeah,
mic.
I suppose that's true. But no, but just having that support just for, being on my side and being on my team always has always been so nice and helpful. And that's really helped me to keep going and to want to keep going because I want to make my dad proud, So, yeah, so I definitely had a lot of teachers throughout the experience that were like, you'll never do this, but,
Whoa. Okay.
but
Thanks,
I
Teach.
didn't. Yeah. I had a teacher tell me once I was like doing a soap opera on camera class, and they were like, you'll never get hired in soaps. Like,
Was that the case?
that's the case, but I also never really auditioned for any.
Yeah.
So nobody actually just offered me a job on a soap. But yeah, I was like, you're kind of an asshole. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why was that necessary? Yeah, so there's definitely, there have been a lot of snags along the way, but thankfully not from anybody whose opinion
Back up a little bit.
matters a whole lot.
What's that? Say it again. I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I
Go
cut you
ahead.
off, as I'm prone to do.
I was just saying, not from anybody whose opinion ultimately matters to me a whole lot. So
Yeah.
that's
and
good,
It's
at
great you
least.
have that mindset. Absolutely.
So back up a little bit because the transition interests me. Where you went from stage in high school and college, somewhere in there you transitioned and you've done some on camera stuff, which is very cool. And then at some point, 13 years ago, you said, "Yeah, I'm going to stay behind the mic." So kind of walk us through those decisions and those transitions.
Right, because you could be doing Steel Magnolias stage shows for the rest of your life, and you decided, no.
Yeah, you could be
could.
Olympia Dukakis on
Yeah.
stage.
On
And
stage.
I still wonder what would have happened if I had, but no. So I went to school in New York. I went to NYU and studied acting and directing there. And so I did a lot of theater and when I was living in New York, and it was awesome and I loved it. It's very fulfilling and gratifying, but it doesn't pay that well. And it's obviously incredibly competitive. And so I started to get really burnt out really quickly, after I graduated and, working 2 jobs to pay the rent for my little closet sized apartment. And so that's the life when you're in your early 20s, and you don't usually mind it too much when you're in your early 20s, but there does come a point where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And so so I just started to reevaluate what I was wanting to do with my life. And so through a whole other story that we can or don't have to get into, but I wound up deciding that I wanted to live overseas for a little while. And so I just wanted to do something that was somewhat similar to performance, but not really performance, but doing it in another country and immersing myself in another culture and language. And so I ended up applying to this program in Israel. And it happened to be one that would enable me to teach English at an elementary school while also at the same time studying for my master's degree in education.
Oh, wow.
And so I did that. So I moved to Israel and I lived in Tel Aviv for 2 years and did those things and worked with kids and actually did end up doing a decent amount of theater, both acting and directing while I was there. And it was such a great experience. And
did you do theater in Israeli?
In Hebrew? No.
In Hebrew?
Okay. No, it was an English speaking community theater group. And so there were a lot of people from various countries that were there. And so you would definitely not always hear an American accent or in everything that you were doing. But yeah, I was conducting this primarily in English. So, but my teaching, even though I was teaching English, that's a great way to learn Hebrew when you're teaching a bunch of children because they don't speak the language. And so you have to learn how to explain things in their language. It's like, that was just a comedy of errors
that's usually
every day.
Helpful. Yeah.
So
that sounds so difficult.
it was challenging, but it was so rewarding. And actually my master's thesis was on teaching English to sixth graders through the use of theater. And so we actually did a play and went through the whole process from like reading scripts and auditioning and rehearsals and like all of that, and even like writing resumes and things like that. So it was great. But anyway, so that's not answering your question.
No, it is. It truly is.
A little bit. And
it's getting us there, right? It's along the journey.
I do have a question about that language specifically. There's some languages where you can get caught up sounding like a child if you only speak to children. Mm-hmm. Did that happen at all where you didn't speak to a lot of adults in Hebrew? So like if you try to speak Hebrew to an adult, they're like, why are you talking like a kid?
To a degree, I would say that my Hebrew has probably got to like a middle school level of conversation where I can have conversations and people understand me and I understand them, but like I couldn't have a very intellectual conversation. I wouldn't be able to like talk politics or things like that with other Israelis, but just for like normal everyday kind of conversation, I could usually get by with that. And they would.
Now, had you learned before you went to Israel? Did you know some Hebrew, or did you pretty much pick it up when you were there?
Mostly when I was there, I knew the basics of how to like read and write, but I didn't know how to speak and I didn't understand anything because I grew up Jewish. And so like part of going to Hebrew school when you're a kid is that you learn how to read and write, but you don't understand what you're saying or what you're reading. And so, because it's a completely different looking language. Mm-hmm. And that's always one of the things that can be very frustrating because there's this disconnect between like, you know, how do I know what I'm saying? And when you're reading from a page. And so, so I learned the conversational aspect once I got there. I took a semester in college, but like that didn't really, they covered the extent of my knowledge in like the first 2 days. So, so it was definitely a big learning curve. But when you live there, you can go to classes that are just like Hebrew immersion classes, and they help you to pick it up really quickly. Wow. So that so combo cool. with teaching like second graders it helped a lot. So.
Thanks for diving into that with us.
So it's so interesting. You're now the second voiceover actor that we know that spent some time overseas teaching English.
Yeah, yeah. It was a great thing to do, especially when you're young and not knowing what you want to do with your life. And because I guess I did know what I wanted to do with my life, but I wasn't getting much traction or success in doing it. And so I was like, I need to do something other than waiting tables, because that's what I had been doing. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I think that everybody should wait tables.
I was going to say that.
So
you didn't follow the get drunk all the time and wait tables thing. You might have done some of that.
I definitely did. I definitely did. And I started to go down a path that I was like, this is not what I want to be doing with my time. And so, like staying out until 3 or 4 in the morning and then sleeping until 3 in the afternoon and then going to work and doing it all again. Yeah. It was just like, that's not for me anyway. That might work for some people and that's great. But like, I got to a point where I was like, I have to switch gears here.
For sure.
So that's where the whole English, like teaching English thing came about, because I was like, what else am I qualified to do other than, theater? So, anyway, so when I left Israel and I moved back to New York and I continued, and I went back into that same game again of trying to pursue theater both on stage and as a director. And that was going really well. And then just as it happened, I was there only back for about a year, and I got offered by chance a job that was just supposed to be for 1 season, but working on a TV show in LA. And so it was just, a guaranteed job for 4 months, or guaranteed as much as they can say it's guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And so that's what brought me to LA to begin with. And it was true that job was only 4 months, but during
that show?
It wasn't on camera. It was, it was actually a reality show called Take Home Chef. That was, I don't know if you're familiar with Curtis Stone. He's an Australian gourmet chef. And so it was a TV show of his that I was just offered. Basically, it was sort of like a production assistant kind of job, but it was basically as his assistant. And and that was wonderful. And it was a really great way to like introduce myself to California and living in LA. And I got 4 tickets in one day on my first day that I was there. So I'm like, oh, you know that you belong in LA when you get 4 different non-moving violations in one day. What? But, so anyhow, I decided to stay in LA even after that show was done. And I was there for about 9 years. And during that time, I was like, well, I'm going to do what everybody comes to LA to do. I'm going to be an on-camera actress. And so I did that for a while, and it was great. Great-ish. I mean, it was what it was. It was definitely, when you'd book something, it was very satisfying and fun, but then there's all of the times that you're pushing and you're not getting it, and it can, like anything, it can get to you after a while.
Yeah.
But
and did you and Anne Hathaway like keep showing up to the same? And they're like, I don't know, like which one to pick.
I think I'm a little older than her. Okay. So, she was
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman is, but no, Anne Hathaway is one that I have gotten before, and I am always like,
I figured,
fucking bitch, she took my job
every time. Yeah.
So, no, but I'm sure she's lovely. Anyway, so I was just doing a lot of on-camera stuff, and then I was also doing some theater while I was there. I wrote and helped produce a show that when I was there, that was really great. And do you know the game? Do you remember the game from like the 80s called The Oregon Trail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did I co-wrote a live.
Died of dysentery.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the one. I co-wrote a show that we called Oregon Trail Live, a 4D 8-bit adventure. And it was a choose your own adventure theater performance of the Oregon Trail, where it was audience interactive. And so
why didn't I go to this when I was in LA?
I want to be a part of this.
Yeah, it was so fun. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was fucking awesome. And I wish that like it could live forever. But, but it was a short-lived thing. It got a lot of traction though. And so we did get some interest from some really exciting parties for us to pursue it. But for one reason or another, it just didn't work out. But it was great. And so we wrote multiple scripts and had so that anytime the audience would choose something, the actors, we would know which version we were then going to move on to do. And so every performance was different.
But it
So
always ended in everybody dying of dysentery.
not always.
You gotta make it.
Sometimes you make it to Oregon.
Sometimes you
Wow.
cheat and like get all the money at the beginning. You're like,
Yeah.
how-
Right. It depends.
yeah.
Are you a
Mitch-
banker or are you a farmer?
I don't know the joys of 8-bit games from the 80s, man.
I
It was
don't.
like,
I know. I played Oregon Trail.
have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, on
Okay.
a Mac.
Yeah. Oh man, I had my friend had a Macintosh, and we had the floppy disks, and we had the Oregon Trail on the floppy disk, and we would sit and play that over and over for hours.
That's
It
so
was
fun.
so fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely like, when you have that connection with somebody, it's like, oh yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. So,
Mhm.
no, it was really such a fun experience and such a fun show. So, so those were the kinds of things that I was doing when I was in LA. And I was also, so how I got into voiceover though specifically was just,
See, look at she's asking the questions for us. We can just sit back.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I was going-
I'm
Yeah, no,
also,
I was gonna
I'm
say
so
and
long-winded.
then she just transitioned, and
That's
You
what
asked
we
me
need.
that
here.
question like 10 minutes ago, and I've just been like shooting off about all kinds of other bullshit. So, yeah. But no, I was working on a show in Hollywood, and we was in a break in like where we're just like taking 5 and talking with another cast member about, oh, what'd you do over the weekend? And he was saying, oh, I was just working on this audiobook that I'm recording. And I was like, audiobook? That sounds cool. Tell me more. And so that's really how I got into voice, because he was telling me about ACX, and that's how I got familiar with that. And I just was like, okay, cool. That sounds like something fun. I love reading. I loved, doing characters. And so I started in audiobook narration, and I did that for a little bit before I started to move into other things. So, yeah.
You're like, I want to get paid more for less work. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also my first experience doing my first audiobook that I got hired to do turned out to be a rather traumatic experience. So, it was like, well,
I
I don't know.
don't think
wanna...
Mike or some of the guests have heard the story. So
Yeah, I do
please.
share this pretty
please.
openly. It was in my breakout session at VO Atlanta. So, it was for what I thought was just going to be a thriller book. And so I was like, cool. And because they don't give you much when you audition for these things, so they give you a chapter or sometimes only a couple pages or whatever. And so you get hired off of that and sort of go with that. And so after I was hired by this author to do this book, he said, oh, by the way, I want to have it be like a combo between a male and a female narrator. Do you happen to know any male narrators? And so I was like, well, and at the time, my brother was living with me. And so and he was wanting to get into audiobook narration as well. And so I was like, well, I do. I have this person. And so, and he sent a read in, and the guy was like, great. He sounds perfect. You guys are both hired.
I can
Go
see
to
the
it.
rest of this going.
And as it turns out, we didn't know, because it was my first book, I didn't know the lesson that you need to read the whole thing before you start. And so we were just sort of reading as we went. And we got to this point where it definitely was not just a thriller. It was an erotic thriller.
There it is.
And,
There it is. I just sensed that coming.
And there
You
it
had to do
was.
an erotic thriller with your brother.
With my brother. And I guess the author thought that we were a couple because we had the same last name rather than siblings.
Yeah.
So, and we sure didn't want to say anything after that because it was like, oh. So, it yada, yada, yada. After many, many rounds of alcohol,
Nice.
we got through it. But I do have,
What
I
are
do
you
have
doing,
probably a
stepbrother?
good 2 hours worth of deleted like
Ugh.
outtakes and stuff. So yeah.
I do like to tell the story. One of my mentors, who I won't name, got to make love to himself in a book. So he played both roles.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. I can't imagine listening back and going, that sounds about right.
The editing,
Yeah, it
trying
was
to
a
do the
male.
QC
Yeah.
is always, that was probably the hardest part of having to listen back.
All right,
And
you guys finish this interview.
Or if
I'm gonna
he's
go
a
take
narcissist,
Yeah.
he loved it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So are you sort of leaning away from audiobooks? Was that like the end times, or?
Despite the fact that was my first thing, I did
That was
do
your
a
first,
few
okay.
more. I did do a few more audiobooks after that. I probably did maybe 6 or 8, like not very many, and then I just started to transition into commercial stuff, and so that's primarily what I do now. I mean, there's lots of various genres that I work in now, but audiobooks is usually not one of them, unless I am interested in children's audiobooks, but
That'd be fun.
yeah.
Definitely no erotic thrillers and children's audiobooks.
I hope not. I really hope not. That would be a red flag.
Yeah.
So I see here on page 7, the last page, that there's an erotic moment between. Sorry, Mike.
Wait,
go ahead.
Jack and Jill did what?
They did. Yeah, this is different.
So then you're doing on stage, you're doing on camera stuff, and then you get the audiobook thing, and then at some point you stop doing the on camera stuff. Was it just that dried up, or was it that you enjoyed voiceover more? Is it just the way the world happened, or is there a story behind that?
Not really any interesting story. It's just kind of all of the things that you said. It was more that I was leaning towards voiceover more just because I found that to be a lot more interesting and gratifying for me. But also COVID kind of was the final like nail in the coffin for that, because I just was tired of driving for an hour to get to an audition, to be waiting for 30 minutes to go in for 5 minutes and then have to go home in the traffic. And so I just kind of was like, it's not as satisfying for me. And I just like voice more. And so when COVID happened and everything went remote anyway, and I can't I would spend like 5 times as long trying to cut an on-camera audition because I couldn't get my lighting right or my angles or whatever, and so I was like, forget it. So yeah.
I hear you.
Are you still in California, in Los Angeles?
No, I actually live in Colorado. So, and I've been here for about 11 years now.
Okay.
Which I don't know how that happened, but so it was during those first couple of years when I had transitioned into voiceover. I ended up meeting this guy online who I went through like online dating, who lived in Colorado. And it was initially like, I don't really date people outside of my zip code, much less in another state. So I was sort of put him off and said, no, thank you. But he was very charming and persistent. And then he came to visit. And when he came to visit, we really hit it off. And so now I call him my husband. And so
does he like it when you call him that?
He's I don't know why she calls it.
No, that's his name. So
okay.
No.
Husband.
His name is my husband. So initially when we did long distance for a year of me coming out to Colorado and him coming out to LA, and then after about a year is when I had said, I was like, well, I doing a lot more voiceover than anything else, and so I have the ability to go to another place and move my booth, and so that's what I did, with the idea that we would only be there for a little bit, like a year or two before moving back to California. And it's been now 11 years, so I don't know what's happening.
It's got to be awesome.
Now.
Is he a performer as well?
No, he's a scientist. So he has a much more stable job that people understand. So, yeah.
I hardly understand. I thought I knew what scientist was when I was a kid. I don't. There's a lot more to it than.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
That meets the
I
eye.
Gotta have the big
no,
brain to do that.
and
I
now
don't have the big brain.
my son is very science oriented, and so he'll like my husband will like say thing like he'll ask a question and my husband will start to explain it, and and like he gets maybe 7 seconds in and I gloss over it. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying anymore. And then he'll check in and be like, okay, now do you get it? And he goes, yeah, so blah blah. And then he just like he's 7 and he knows. I'm like,
Congrats.
thankfully somebody in this family knows that.
Does he have cool nerdy hobbies as well? Because
He's got like an engineer's brain, so he builds Lego. He's very into Lego,
there you
and
go.
therefore I'm very into Lego as well.
See, yeah,
So
my sons are both very into Lego, and my daughter-in-laws thank me all the time for raising nerds
yeah,
because they say, they'll tell everyone they know nerd is the way to go,
yeah,
because they're so loyal, and they're not gonna go
Mm.
yeah,
out cheating on you because they got Legos to buy and to put
exactly, yeah.
together. So
Oh
Well,
my
and as my
gosh.
husband says, like he says, Lego is a good hobby to have because at least it's not heroin. So
it costs about the same.
Or more. I would say
it
more,
kind of
more.
gets up
Yeah.
More,
there,
yeah.
but
And it doesn't
yeah,
end. You can't OD on Lego.
that's true.
No, but you
Well,
can run out of
Yeah.
space for them. I know that
True.
you
because I still
can.
have a bunch of my son's Legos at this house.
You could just
They
be
don't
my
have
old
room
boss who might be listening. He brings them to work, and he, since, it's a family business, he just has a room for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's treasure. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. We like to call our room Target because it basically looks like a Target aisle. So
I live at Target too. So I feel like this is it. All right.
well, thanks so much for
There's so much
listening.
more
It's
to
been
talk about
great.
because
No.
see, now we've got Libby as established in voiceover. You've started doing. I don't know how prolific you've been, but you are, from what I know of you, you seem like a pretty successful person. And then at some point, somebody asked you, "Hey, within the world of voiceover, there's these other things. There's casting, there's coaching, there's all these things." So kind of talk about your journey within voiceover that kind of led you to being a mogul, if you will.
Sure. Mobile. I like that. That's
Yeah, you
very
can use that.
one can dream. So I would say that the casting came about when almost immediately after I moved to Colorado because I had made that move. And while I was waiting for my booth and all of my stuff to arrive, I was looking for studios that I could work from in the meantime. And I found this particular studio in Boulder that I looked on their website and they just looked like an interesting, like it looked like a really good studio, but it also looked like interesting people. And they had all these, like, they had a thing on their page just about for inquiries that they love The Big Lebowski. And so they're like, if you like The Big Lebowski, then, we would like to meet you. And that's one of my favorite movies. And like I said, I am a movie person. And so, so I wrote them like a cover letter that was just filled with Lebowski-isms. And they wrote back to me and they were like, you sound really, really interesting. Are you a real person? Because if you are, we want to meet you. And so I went in and I met them and they're like, yeah, fine. You can use the studio. Fine. We want to know if you want to work here. And so they were like, we're looking to start a casting department. Do you want to be our casting director?
Wow.
And I said, I have no idea how to do that. I've never done that before, but I, between acting, directing, and teaching, I guess I can sort of figure it out. And I was like, if you could help me work through it, knowing that I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's what happened. So I started working at this studio and I was there for 9 years. And I was a producer there as well as their casting director. And I basically built that department from the ground up. So that's how the casting started. And because I learned really quickly that I very much enjoy it. And it's become quite a passion.
Really?
I love casting. And I think that, and I love, like, my favorite part of it, though, I have to say, is when I get to tell somebody that they booked a job, because that's just so gratifying and so fun.
Yeah.
Um, but so that's how that one started. And then throughout those years, as they went on, I would get contacted by people asking if I would offer them coaching or feedback. Like, everybody always wants to know, feedback. And that was never part of my job description before. And quite frankly, I just didn't have time or the bandwidth to offer that. And May of 2024 came around and I was leaving that studio. I was like, well, I guess now that I'm starting this other business on my own, I can add coaching to it and actually start offering that as a service. So really, I've only been doing the coaching for, since May of 24.
Wow.
And that
not
doesn't
even a year.
That doesn't clash with the casting, because, like you said, you have no say in who's getting cast. You're just...
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a very very clear line there. I don't coach anything that I'm casting. Obviously, if anybody comes and they like, oh, I just got this breakdown from you. Can we work on it? Like, we can after it books, but not until then. But so there's never any confusion there.
I would love, that'd be amazing.
Hey,
Right.
you're giving me this to audition for. Let's work on it, and then you'll see how good I am at this.
Right, exactly.
And why you need to make sure I get hired for it.
Yes.
So,
but also, my clients don't give a shit of my opinion most of the time. So, like,
you're just the middleman.
Yeah, I'm the middleman, like in Office Space, when we jump to conclusions.
Oh.
Yes, I'm the people person, and so I help make that transition for them.
So it seems like you are always ready to do the next thing, and not out of spite or because you got fired or because, you're bored or anything. It's just like, what else you got, world? And then you just do it? Is it that?
First rule of improv is say, yes and.
Yes.
So I try to always just leave myself open to say yes and just to try something, because it doesn't always work out, but I think that it helps to give a full picture of what an experience is like to be in anybody's shoes if you've actually been in those shoes at some point. So, helps for that.
So what are some of your favorite projects from voiceover, and then also from favorite projects that you've cast? You mentioned that one of your favorite things to do is to tell someone they got the role. What was the thing that you're like, that was cool to be involved in casting, and it was super cool to be able to tell person A they got the thing?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I have like a single one that comes to mind, because I've cast I think 2,000 jobs at this point, and so I don't remember. I know that, like, I'm going to get off of this call and I'm going to be like, oh, I forgot to mention this, but
we'll just come right back on. We'll tape that. We'll splice it in.
Yeah.
No one will know the difference.
Exactly.
Yep.
We're all wearing different clothes, but
whatever. A puppet of you. You be here. Oh, you be here. Okay.
I don't know. I've done a little bit. I did some dubbing. I cast some dubbing work a while back, and that was really fun. I don't know why that just sort of comes to mind, because dubbing is a world that I don't have a ton of experience in, but like when I have worked in it, it was just so fun. So that was really cool, and getting to like hear how people could match with the voice, like of the on-camera person, was always really fun. And then like also casting audiobooks is fun to do as well. But there are sometimes like I'll get a campaign that is for something that's really particularly meaningful and special, like if it's for any kind of health related things a lot of times. And so I really like working and casting in those areas, because I feel like we're just helping contribute to doing good. So that's always satisfying too.
Definitely feel that way when I'm selling something that I wouldn't want to feed like someone I love or something, but it's like, this also pays a lot. You know, Oreos are delicious, but
Right.
they sell themselves. What are
Right.
we
Yeah.
doing advertising?
But,
They're
I
delicious.
mean, if you can advertise an Oreo, I mean, I would stand behind that product.
I
But
do stand
Say
behind
that,
the
like,
Oreos for sure.
that even when you get when I get a really fun script that's like really funny and it's genuinely funny, and I really love listening to those auditions because I love getting to hear people play, and
Yeah.
so that's my answer,
I
actually,
love getting an
because
audition that's genuinely funny as opposed to probably 90% of them that are,
right,
they think they're funny.
they think they're funny but they're not that funny.
And it's so
So
hard to be funny when you're reading a script that thinks it's funny, but it's not really funny.
And then, okay, this is a perfect lead in. Thank you, Mike.
You're
You
welcome.
mentioned in the class I was in, because I, for a while, was a big improver. And not an but like full-on sentence boy over here, where I was really digging in. And could have been why I didn't get hired, you know? Tell me a little bit more about that. So in a not funny script, quote unquote, they want to hear what they wrote. How do you play with that? How do you what are your tips and tricks for
good
that?
question, Mitch.
Yeah.
That so in as I mentioned before in that class, I generally in the commercial world, ad-libbing is a no-no, and that sucks for people that are really good at improv and that are, you know, creative people, which is many, but so I usually tell people, don't put that in there. If you need to have some sort of improv to get you into the scene so that you can start from a place that feels like you're jumping right in rather than having to like rev up, you know, as you get in, then go ahead and record it, but don't include it in your read. However, for those people who really like feel like it's working and they need to do it, if you need to do it, okay, for doing that at the top or at the or a button at the end, that's okay, but only do it on one take. So if you're gonna submit more than, you know, and submit more than one take that are different from each other, but if you're only submitting one take, I wouldn't improv on it. But if you're gonna do two, then if you want to do one where you're having some fun with it, and then one that's like straight down the line, that's okay.
That tracks. That sounds like advice I've gotten.
I
Let me
had
ask
one.
you. Go
Sorry,
ahead, Mitch.
I had one
Continue with
recently.
your thought.
I'm just it's almost like, is Libby like watching? Is she gonna hear this one? Kind of how it felt where I did leave on the end. I think I called out to the person I was talking to or whatever, but I was like, I don't know about this. Hopefully it's fun enough. It was fun for me. Sorry, that's all I had to say.
All right.
Yeah, but
I
also,
do feel like,
and I'll just add to that like, and be careful of how much you're ad-libbing or improving, because if it's more than like a sentence, it's too much. So, I mean, usually I would say a couple words and leave it at that. I've had somebody, you know, in the past that like literally had a full minute of ad-libbing before getting in. And I'm like, at what point are you going to actually start reading the words that are on the page?
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people would be like, why'd you even keep listening? I just wanted to see what he was going to do. So
How's it going to end?
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to see how long can we make this 30-second script? So,
Well, and I think, putting a button on it, I think is one of the key terms, and one of the key things is it's okay to add a little bit of something at the end to kind of punch it or whatever on your B take. What I want to know is something I've been hearing more and more about is kind of as AI gets more intrusive into the world of voiceover. I've heard from several people that they are leaving imperfections, leaving the breaths, leaving the clicks, leaving some of those voice imperfections to add to the realism of the read when they submit the auditions. What are you hearing on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's more acceptable now than it used to be even a few years ago to have those things in there. I wouldn't overdo it. I generally say that if it's a distraction to you when you're doing your QC, it's going to be a distraction to whoever is listening on the other end. So I would cut it down, like bring down the breath a little bit or tighten it up or something like that. But having it in there is definitely good, because that does make you sound more like a human. Not that like AI doesn't do that now too, but
Right.
of course
They breathe.
They breathe.
The
now.
robots are breathing.
But yeah, I do think that having a little bit more in there than there used to be, because it used to be cut all that shit out, and now it's just cut it down or bring the level down or whatever, but have it in there. So,
which I love.
Yeah.
When I'm told like do less work on my audio, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. But quite frankly, the final spots don't have it. So they still,
they do all the work though.
Yeah. But it's funny.
Well, at
like
that point, they know you're real, and they can.
But
they
I
can
just
make
mean
you sound
it's
polished.
always interesting to hear like the audition version and then the final version, because they're usually so starkly different from each other that it's like, well, how did you hire this person based on this audition if they were going to go to this place? But that's always what they do.
I find it strange. When I first started, and maybe did my first live direction, I'm like, you wanted like everyday regular guy, but now you're, Now
you want the announcer.
Yeah, now you're leaning me into the, okay, all right.
Just goes back to they don't know what they want until they hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times those auditions is so that they can get a sense of who you are and what you can bring to it, even if they're going to change everything. So they just want to know, what can you do? And that's why I always say that, like, everybody says this of having multiple takes that are different and, to show your versatility. But that's the primary reason, is so that they know, like, what can you do? Tell me. So
I was lucky enough one time they came back from talking to the client and said, okay, we've took out some words so you can leave in more sarcasm. And I'm like, you
Dream
did
job.
that for me? It's like, hello. That was amazing.
That's always nice when that happens.
Oh, so nice. So you're always transitioning. We found out pretty quickly. There's always something new on the horizon. I know this is normally Mike's question, but is there anything...
Stealing my stuff.
I'm so sorry, bud. I stole your intro, too.
I know,
pretty much.
you're just stealing everything
I
from
said
me,
I wasn't going to talk at all. Mike, you know what? You want to go?
No.
Or Okay.
No. You go ahead. You go ahead.
What are you seeing come up that piques your interest now that you've been, doing this stuff you love for 11 years, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something else coming up that you're like, ooh, I want to try that?
You mean from a casting point of view, or from an acting, or how do you mean?
Any creative, anything. Yeah, maybe you just
even
want
a
to be
new
a doctor
career
now.
within the crereative. Maybe you want to write copy. Maybe you want to.
No, I don't.
No.
I've started to get a little bit more into demo production, and so I really like doing that. I've done a couple of commercial demos, a couple of political demos as well, because it's another genre that I really like to work in. And so that's been really, really fun and gratifying as well, because it gets to exercise some other creative juices. And then as far as from a performance stance, I'm super interested in delving more into animation right now, but specifically into adult animation. So, because I have realized that, like, I'm not Barbie, I'm not going to be Barbie, but I can be, Barbie's dirty friend. So,
Barbie's dirty friend.
That was a terrible example.
Hilarious.
But I've been watching a lot of Big Mouth lately, and so I'm like,
dirty friend.
I've been.
That's how I
watching
felt about Big Mouth. It was like, I want to do this, please.
Yeah, that's. I've been so inspired by that show, and so I'm just like, yes, give me all of the raunchy, disgusting nonsense, and that's what I want.
I don't want to be a pillow. Anyone watch that show?
No,
just not the. I'll do it.
Right.
But I don't want to be.
Yeah, that the pillow is definitely. I think Kristen Bell is the pillow, right?
The pillow? I don't know that I even
from
want
Big
to know.
Mouth.
I don't even want to know.
I think she does the voice of the pillow, and I went to college with her. So
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Where?
Little known fact here, Normie. The last show she did on at NYU was the show I directed her in.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch?
I wish we did.
Hang out.
We will
and
now. She's going to see this, and she's going to be like, "Hey, Libby,
that would be sick.
where have you been?"
We are from the same area. She grew up 20 minutes from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
she's lovely.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That's all I've heard.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't talked to her in probably 15 years, but she was always, we met when we were 18, and she was awesome then, and so I'm sure she's awesome now. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I can only imagine that adult animations are coming to you quick.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Netflix is a gold mine of
little known network there.
Mike and I are writing a Netflix.
Yeah.
Mitch is getting ahead of himself. I'm developing something. Hopefully, that's. Let's start with audio drama, and we'll see where it goes.
Nope. I'm just sitting there watering flowers. I'm like, this is definitely going to be a Netflix special. I'm like, why not?
Well, yeah, we're gonna.
Why
I
not?
guess we're pitching next week. I don't know.
That's
we're pitching
exciting.
to you. Yeah, we're pitching to you right now.
Can I interview you guys?
That's a topic for off air.
It is
We're talking about Libby
air,
Clearfield, not
true,
about
true,
Mitch
true,
and
true.
Mike and our crap that we have on the side.
Dumb crap.
But so I did have a question, and it's lost now because Mitch got me sidetracked. But yeah, I don't even know. I'm all flustered
My
now.
favorite color is purple. So
I was wondering, is this purple?
No,
that looks brown to me.
Yeah,
but
not on camera. It's not. Maybe it is. In your mind.
This is purple.
In your
mind, it's
colorblind eyeballs.
Yeah, it's a type of purple.
Yeah,
according
to
my
my
wife.
word on that one.
Yeah, not my word. I'm colorblind. No idea. Yeah.
That's
wow,
fair.
we've definitely. Do you got that question, Mike? Did you harvest the question from your?
Well, I mean, you kind of explained what it is. Like the dream job is to do that adult animation. What about? Is there anything else creative that you can see yourself doing? Whether it's getting back in front of the camera, whether it's more directing, whether it's, you said you don't want to write, got that. But is there anything else that
scripts. I do write those.
Multi-talented Libby Clearfield sees herself doing?
I think I just want to continue to be better at what it is that I am doing. I'm always striving to learn more and to make sure that I'm up to date and up to speed with everything. Engineering is also something that, when I started working at that studio in Boulder, I learned how to engineer, sort of in the basics. The language that I use is in Pro Tools, and so I like learning that stuff. And I want to get better at that. And so I want to improve my engineering skills and my ear for that. Because accents and dialects has kind of always been, I have a good ear for that, but I've never had a great ear for music and sound design. And so I'm trying to work to get better at that. So that's probably creatively what is the most interesting to me right now, is to really just improve on engineering.
Well, there you go. See how good Libby is? You remember how earlier I said that she's asking all the questions I was going to ask? That was my question, because you were talking about starting to do demo reels, and so my brain went to, oh, she's also an engineer. Let's hear more about how she got into that and what you've learned there. So you've already answered that question. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for getting into my brain.
Can we hear those demos anywhere? Are they on your website? Are they
the ones I produced? No, yes. Those are those are just with those website. Respective talents. Yeah. So
secret.
I don't know if that's something that I guess that would be something that would be the next step, wouldn't it? Is to figure out if I can like display them on my website. Yeah, I guess I should figure that out.
Yeah, or you can just
Thanks,
link to
Mitch.
all your clients' websites.
Yeah,
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 either one.
Yeah.
I win.
It's whatever you want, really.
I don't know.
And on that note,
Yes. It's all about me right now.
yeah. No, now it's about me, Mitch.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to steal your thunder since you've been
What's
stealing
going
mine.
on?
I'm thinking it's time to act. I want to act. I want to do some acting.
Oh my god.
Get into some acting.
I
and
can't
do
believe
some
you
real good acting.
stole that from me. Okay.
So what do you
Perfect.
say? Libby, would
Let's
you
do
like
some
to
acting.
mess around with us a little bit?
That sounds delightful. Let's
All
do
right, let's roll that roulette wheel, and we'll be right back. Okay. we've got an interesting one for you. Mitch played on something Libby said earlier about Barbies, and so we've got promiscuous Barbie. We'll call her something else later on. Going out on a date with not one, but two Kens.
Hi.
All right. Okay. So, quick question before we start. Why are there two of you?
I'm Ken.
I'm also Ken.
That clears up nothing, but somehow explains everything.
The app said Ken seeks Barbie. That's me.
No, that's me. I swiped right with maximum confidence. I even flexed while doing it.
But I swiped on one Ken. One. Singular Ken, like a collectible item.
Well, maybe we're a two-pack.
Limited edition. Slightly different hairstyles.
You both have the exact same hair.
Well, mine has more heroic energy.
His is more gray. Mine has more mysterious beach volleyball champion energy.
Oh, I feel like I accidentally ordered the same toy twice, and now I can't return either of you.
Yeah. Oh, no. I am not returnable. I don't have a barcode or a penis.
Me neither. But I do have a barcode. It's just spiritual.
Yeah, okay, fine. Triple date. Let's make the best of it. So, what do you guys do for fun?
Ooh. I stand confidently near convertible.
I run in slow motion for no reason at all.
Of course you do.
Sometimes I think about getting a job, but then I remember I'm Ken.
Same. I applied once and the application just said Ken. And they said, we'll call you. And they never did.
Oh, shocking.
What about you, Dirty Barbie?
Well, I refurbish old dreams and occasionally ruin brunch.
That sounds dangerous.
It's mostly glitter related.
Ooh.
Oh, I like glitter. It makes everything look like it's winning.
I swallowed glitter once. I sparkled internally for weeks.
Oh, that explains the glow.
So, which one of us did you mean to match with?
I genuinely don't know anymore. One of you had a photo with a horse.
Oh, that was me.
That was also me.
Same horse?
Probably.
His name is Lightning Thunder.
Yeah.
That's not a real horse name.
Oh, it is when you believe in it.
We both believe in it.
Yeah.
This is like dating a mirror that learned how to talk back twice.
Oh, I can be different. Watch this. I'm thoughtful, Ken.
Whoa, dude. Then I'll be adventurous, Ken. I just decided that.
Wow. Character development on a first date.
So, Dirty Barbie, what are you looking for in a Ken?
Honestly, something unpredictable.
I once tried to microwave ice cream.
Oh, that's not unpredictable. That's just a cry for help.
I always wear sunglasses at night.
That's just dumb.
I named all my t-shirts.
Okay. That one's actually a little compelling.
Well, my favorite t-shirt is named Brad.
Mine is also named, it's named Other Brad.
Of course it is.
Do you want to split a milkshake?
Or compete for it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if I say yes, because mine do always bring the boys to the yard, but then this turns into a sport.
Oh, everything is a sport.
Especially emotions.
Okay, here's the deal. 1 milkshake, 2 cups. No competition.
Ooh.
Just vibes.
Oh, I can vibe.
I can vibe harder.
Oh, no vibing harder.
Okay,
Oh.
equal vibing then.
Agreed. Balanced vibing.
Yeah.
This might actually work.
Are we winning the date?
I feel like we're winning the date.
Well, you're not losing it, which is impressive.
Oh, I'll take that.
Me too. High five.
Next time, though, I am double-checking the profile.
Next time, we'll both be here anyway.
We travel as a set now.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
What now, Barbie?
Yeah, wait. Dare we go back to Dream House or something?
Oh!
Wow.
Our favorite part of that script was that it was written, the character's name is Dirty Barbie, and I get to actually address her as Dirty Barbie.
As Dirty Barbie.
I did tell it to, like, you. Oh, no, I said you could call the other one Other Ken. But I didn't say anything about don't call her Dirty Barbie. So funny.
Yeah.
Times.
Oh,
Well,
great.
let's get it going, okay? When does it go into production?
That's what I'm wondering.
Well, hey, we got to get the IP rights first.
Yep.
That might be hard. I'll call Mattel after we get off of this then.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
sure we
you,
have it in the bag.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
I do for us.
Adult animation, also in a franchise that we all love, know and love. Win, win, win.
There you
There you go.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong? All right. Well, hey, Libby, it's been a pleasure. You're just super cool people, and we love to have super cool people on the show.
Turns
So
out.
Yeah.
it just makes the
You guys
hang much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time I'll bring some booze, too.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Next time.
So
Next time. See, we already got her
we got our
locked
next.
in for a second visit.
Yes.
Wow. You
Yeah.
did it, Mike.
Yeah.
All along, I doubted you at first, and then I really saw you land that point.
I have a magnetic personality, so
That's true.
They're just
It's
people are
true.
drawn to me, and they want to be here because of me. Only me, Mitch. Only me.
Yep. Yeah, I have
But
to.
on
agree.
that note, thank you for being here with both of us, Libby.
Thank you so
And-
much for having me here. This was so much fun.
Well,
Bye.
good. I'm glad you had fun.
Oh, wait. Oh, no,
What?
I thought we were saying bye, so I was
Yeah.
doing that already.
Okay, do the thing.
And then
The
a
awkward
double
goodbyes. Here
hand
we go.
wave. Awkward.
Bye.
It's weird. Ugh.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You can't
Silence.
do it too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jazz
Thank
hands.
you.
Bye.